Failsafe's plan reaches new heights in Batman issue 147 by Chip Zdarsky, Jorge Jimenez, and Miguel Mendonca. The villainous robot's rule over Gotham City continues as its crusade on crime gets the attention of Amanda Waller after he has a brief run-in with Vandal Savage. Waller figures that Failsafe is exactly the type of monster that they need to show the people why her cause is just. This is a pretty interesting thing since we've seen Failsafe is working with Waller in the Free Comic Book Day issue of Absolute Power, so it looks like she recruits him with the sole purpose of using his quote-unquote heroing as justification for her plan, and then she obviously probably learns he's got the Amazos and has made them into, their own Justice League and all that sort of stuff, so I imagine there's a little bit more to this which we'll see in Absolute Power, but I like that there's the seeds being planted right now. Waller sends her soldiers after Batman, but instead of finding him at the mansion, they find Damian, who takes out all of the soldiers since Failsafe is busy confronting Waller herself, warning her to stay away from him and his powered friends. This I found quite interesting since Failsafe is still trying to be Bruce. He's still trying to put on that persona that, yeah, this is definitely Bruce Wayne. It's just a little bit different now because he's had to upload his consciousness into a robotic body, but he's still Bruce. And I like that because of that, he has to try and have like friends and family. The things that he has said multiple times are why Bruce failed as Batman, because of the Bruce part, the humanity part, so that part that allowed him to have friends and family. And here he's trying to do that. And I like that he knows that it's not what he needs to do, but he knows he also needs to do it because that's what a human would do, and he's trying to pass himself off as a human. It's really quite an interesting thing because it's like a robot trying to learn to be human, but it's going about it just completely wrong. Bruce meanwhile has left Gotham and he's all out of ideas since what he knows, Zur knows, so he decides to go for something that was around before Zur was even a thing, and that is Happy Harbor and Mount Justice, where the old Justice League HQ used to be, and it's where he has still a few leftover pieces of tech that he can scrounge together. Zdarsky uses this opportunity to send Bruce on a memory road trip as he remembers his time with his friends at the mountain, specifically one of his first interactions with the Flash, who is quick to remind Batman that they're on a team together and he doesn't have to do this all alone since they all have the same goals in mind, and every once in a while it's okay to let someone help you out. This is going to be a running thing through Bruce this issue where he sort of comes to that realization that, hey, I can use my family as my strength. I don't really have a problem with this because it's always really good when writers do this, but again, writers have done this to death like 5,000 times already, that Bruce relearns that, hey, my family are my strength, and he just keeps on learning that. I do like here that Zdarsky has written himself in, I guess, kind of like a little scapegoat here where we had Zur kind of mess with Bruce's mind a little bit and make him see fear in that if he gets his family involved, they will die and all that sort of stuff. So he had that sort of caveat there just to sort of explain why Bruce is going through this characterization again. And again, it's something we've seen a million times, but I'm always enjoying it. I really like it when it happens, since it leads to some really great stuff once he teams the family in like the third act, so I'm very much looking forward to that. Damian meanwhile continues to team with what he seems to think is his father and learns of his plans for the Amazos, which is he has turned them into his own Justice League and who will be a big part of Absolute Power. We've seen them all be sort of like the main villains for each of the heroes they are mirroring. These aren't just Amazers though, as each has been uploaded with a Batman from the multiverse, although we know it's not Batman, it's Zur-En-Arz. And this is strangely the thing that makes Damian realize that Failsafe isn't his father at all, but Zur-En-Arz, and I don't like that at all. Again, I've had real issue with how Damian has been written in this part of the story. He's kind of an idiot. Like, he just immediately believes that this man is his father because he is able to recite an old memory. And I can kind of understand where Zdarsky's coming from. Damian is deep down very, wanting of his father's love and wanting to be with his father, wanting to be the Robin to his Batman, more or less. And I can see why he would want to do this and want to sort of cloud his judgment in that regard, but it's just so stupid. You could have done it so much better, and he should have been like the first one to like figure out that this is Zur, and this was all him sort of like going undercover and faking it. But it wasn't that at all. It does lead to something quite interesting, and that is, since he's now against Zur decides, well, if he can't control Robin, he'll have to make his own, and it's revealed that he has made his own Robin of Zur-Anar. At least that's how I took it. I know some people have been saying that it's Damien who's now possessed by Zur since he gets put into a machine, but the way the paneling is done, it looks like he has made a Zur-Anar, like either like a clone or like another android, like an Amazo android sort of thing, but it looks exactly like Damien. It's very strange, and I'm sure Zdarsky's going to explain it in the next issue, but it's really weird how this is sort of brought up, but it's an interesting thing. I quite like that. I like that Damien is the one who will become the Zur Robin. I think that's very fitting, and I'm intrigued to see what a Zur-Anar Damian Wayne Robin is like, because Damian Wayne is already kind of violent and all of that, so what is his Zur counterpart going to be like? That's going to be something to experience. As the book goes on as well, Damien's bad writing is even more so apparent when we have another Robin turn up in the book, and that's Tim Drake, who manages to track Bruce down to an old cabin Thomas Wayne built decades ago, and the two have a great talk about why Bruce is doing all this, and it's thanks to Zur sowing that fear into his mind, fear what would happen to his family if they helped or got involved. It ends with Bruce reiterating what we've kind of known from the get-go, which is Bruce's family is his strength and being together makes them unstoppable, despite Failsafe believing him and only him can be the better Batman. It's really been signposted throughout this entire series, and I quite like that. Again, as I said before, it's been done a million times before, but I always like it when they do this. Bruce is also outfitted with a slick new bat suit, which function isn't really known yet, but I like that it looks more armored and it's a bit more clunky because he's just, kind of cobbling it together from old parts from, Mount Justice and wherever he can grab them from. And I like the accents it's got on it. It kind of reminds me of the batsuit that George Clooney wore in the finale of Batman Robin, that kind of silver black suit he had to fight Mr. Freeze in. This also goes back to the whole idea that Zdarsky has kind of pared Batman back a lot, taken away all his gadgets and all his cool toys, and he's just a guy who has to use his fists and his feet and his robotic arm just to get by. And I like that that's where the suit seems to be coming from, where it looks a lot heavier and clunkier. It's got big ears, which I always really like on Batman. I'm a real big fan of the big ears, so I'm really glad that's back. So I'm looking forward to seeing that final fight between Failsafe and Batman, even though we know Failsafe will go on to be in absolute power. Despite the writing of Damien being strange and quite out of character, Batman issue 147 was another fun installment in the Dark Prison's story arc, further sowing the seeds to Failsafe's part in absolute power, while also rebuilding Bruce's character back up with some fantastic sequences involving Tim Drake and the Flash, among other friends of Batman. I'm going to give this issue a 9 out of 10.